Let's say we wanted to measure the height of a tree. We assume the tree is vertical, at 90 degrees. We've measured out 100 metres horizontally from the base of the tree, and we've used some sort of a device, I forget what you call them, to look through here with a vertical angle and read off that this is a 53-degree angle. It's an angle of elevation of 53 degrees. Now, directly opposite our 53 degrees is the opposite side, which is the height of the tree. And this side is the adjacent side, and that's our 100-metre length. So in this triangle, we know the adjacent side, we want to find the opposite side, so we're going to use opposite over adjacent, and because it's part of the SOHCAHTOA, S-O-H-C-A-H-T-O-A, here we go here. Opposite over adjacent is tan. So it's the tan of angle 53 degrees. And so let's call this H, our opposite side. H over 100 is equal to the tan of 53 degrees. Okay. Now I looked up the sine of 53 degrees, thinking I was going to have to use the sine, but let's do, clear that, 53 degrees, oops, I've got to do the tan first. Tan 53 degrees equals 1.3270. Tan 53 equals 1.3270 ... I'll go on forever. Okay, so now, to solve this, we're going to multiply both sides by 100. So that 100 disappears. So H is equal to 100 times tan 53 degrees, which is 100 times 1.3270, which is 132.7 metres. Okay, does it look right? I hesitated because I thought, I made a mistake. But I am right. And it all relates to this angle here. If this angle had been 45 degrees, then this height, H, would have been exactly the same as this horizontal distance, because this is half a square. So the two sides of the square would have been equal. If it was less than 45 degrees, my height would have been less than this distance here. But because it's 53 degrees, it's up here, and my height is greater than this distance. So we expect the tree to be taller than 100 metres, and it is 132.7 metres. Okay, so the task at hand: identify your right triangle, identify your right angle, identify the angle that you're given. Now, in this case it's here, sometimes it's up here. Our next example, we'll do one with an angle up here. Then check the sides. You want the opposite side, the side that's opposite the angle, and we're given the adjacent side, this side that's adjacent to the angle. Hypotenuse doesn't come into this problem, so sine and cosine won't come into the problem, because both sine and cosine need the hypotenuse. Okay, let's try another one. This time we have a ladder leaning against a vertical wall. The ladder's sitting on horizontal ground, the wall's vertical, so we know we've got 90 degrees. It's an 8-metre ladder, and at an angle of 65 degrees we want to know how far it's going to reach up the wall. We could also ask ourselves, how far is the foot of the ladder from the base of the wall? Okay, so let's change that, angle 65 degrees. So let's say that the angle the ladder makes with the wall is 25 degrees. Okay, so this is our given angle now. This will be our opposite side. This is clearly the hypotenuse, because it's the longest side, and this will be our adjacent side. Okay, so if I want to find let me see first, what do we do? We'll do the horizontal distance of the foot of the ladder from the base of the wall, opposite over hypotenuse, we know is the sine of angle 25 degrees. So our opposite is x, our hypotenuse is 8, is equal to, now if I quickly get the sine of 25 degrees, sine 25 equals 0.42261, 0.42261 and on forever. Multiply both sides by 8. The 8's disappear. X is equal to 8 times 0.42261. So I'll just simply multiply my answer here by 8 and I get 3.3809. 3.3809. Okay, looks about right. Nearly 3.4 metres here. Let's look at the height up the wall. This is the adjacent side, this is the hypotenuse. Don't use this, even though we could. If you make a mistake in this value, then you're going to make a mistake in this one. So keep using what you're given. So we could forget that step and say h over 8, h divided by 8 is equal to the cosine of 25 degrees. Okay, adjacent over hypotenuse, h over 8 equals cos 25, so h is equal to 8 times cos 25. So I put that in my calculator and I say 8 times cosine 25, I don't need to close the bracket, it'll do it for me, 7.25 metres. Clearly it's got to be less than 8 metres, and that's a pretty, this is 65 degrees, although we didn't use that one, we used this one. That's a narrow angle, so you'd expect this height up the wall to be pretty close to 8 metres, 7.25. And you'd expect that distance to be not very large, near 3.4. Okay, this is your secret. Identify your sides, decide whether it's opposite, hypotenuse, opposite, adjacent, whatever it is, and then recognise that it's the cosine of the angle 25 degrees. Adjacent, hypotenuse. Up here, it was the opposite over hypotenuse. X over 8 was opposite over hypotenuse, which is the sine of 25 degrees. Okay, I messed around a little bit up here. Took 1, 2, 3, 4 lines. Here I only took 3. And in fact, if you really know what you're doing, you can go from here straight to here, just by multiplying by 8. The calculator does it all for you anyway.